morning, Facebook. For those that don't know who I am, my name is Dustin Williams, and I'm a U.S. Army veteran. I served 3 years in the infantry and participated in Operation New Dawn and served one tour in Iraq. I'm making this video because personally I feel like this is one of the most important videos that I should make, and really the only video that matters for what had happened yesterday in DC. Now, I made some videos yesterday in the height of everything and like right after everything happened, so I was still a little bit high on the chaos and the adrenaline of everything. And I'm riding in the back seat now. We're headed back to Texas, and I just finished my leg of driving. I do my best thinking when I'm driving. So the past 6 hours of driving, I've been able to kind of decompress and go through everything that happened yesterday. And I think it's really important for me to make this video. I'm asking everybody that's watching this video to share this video. This has got to get out, because this is the truth about what happened yesterday. And you know, what the media is saying is not true. And it's very, very important that this video is shared so the American people know what really happened yesterday. Yesterday, other than the end, was a beautiful day. The morning started. I still don't know the number of people that were there, but if I had to guess, there was at least 1 million people there. Trump obviously spoke about 11:30ish, I think. But before that, you know, everybody got there. It was completely peaceful. There were women, children everywhere. We had a couple of speakers that got up there on the podium before President Trump came and spoke. And, you know, it was just very, very peaceful. We were praying. We were singing the national anthem. We were conversing with each other like it was a really amazing morning of unity, you know. And where things went wrong was when we went to the Capitol. So this is what happened yesterday, and I saw this firsthand, and my partners that went with me saw this too. And although we participated in it in a minor fashion, you know, we did not vandalize, we did not go into the building, we did not break into the building. You know, like, I just want to make that very, very clear. We were not part of that. And a matter of fact, most, I'm not saying all, because there were Trump supporters part of this, but most Trump supporters were not part of the vandalism or breaking into the Capitol building. That is not what the media is saying, and I saw that firsthand. Now, there are some people on my Facebook that want to believe every single thing that the media tells them. And I'm telling you right now, you know me, you know my word, you know what kind of man I am. So if you choose to believe the lying media over me, then, you know, honestly, my respect goes down for you. My love doesn't go down, but my respect for you goes significantly down, okay? I'm a man of my word. I tell the truth, and I know what happened. I saw it. I was there. I got pepper sprayed. I got I got pepper sprayed and I got gassed. And, you know, there were flashbangs going off around us too. It was pretty intense. But I'm going to lay out what I witnessed and what we did when we got there. Now, as we started listening to Trump talk, people were still walking up and walking in. We were actually in the street between the Ellipse area and the Washington Monument. We were standing in the street between the two, and that's where people seem to be walking back and forth the most. So as we were listening to Donald Trump speak, which was hard to hear because we were in between two speakers, and so it was echoing real bad, and we couldn't really make out what Trump was saying because, one, it wasn't loud enough, and two, the echoing overlapped each other, and, you know, it was hard to make out what Trump was saying. But at that point, men started coming in that did not look like you would think Trump supporters would look like. And my partners and I actually got a little bit uncomfortable. Leroy's a pretty big guy, and some weird dude was standing behind him that, you know, when I turned around, because I'm always trying to have my head on a swivel and be aware of my my environment and what's going on around me. And so I turned away from the podium where Trump was speaking and kind of put my head down, you know, with my hat covering my eyes, pretending I was trying to hear. But what I was really doing was watching the dude behind Leroy, because my gut was telling me something wasn't right. So what the media is not going to tell you is that Antifa was there. Antifa dressed up as Trump supporters, and they were on a mission. Okay, now this is a little bit complicated, but I'm going to lay this out and show you how orchestrated and planned this was. This was, I don't know if to call it a false flag operation by the swamp, but, you know, I don't know what better words to use other than a coordinated, sophisticated false flag by the swamp using Antifa. Antifa is very, very organized, very, very well funded, and their tactics are extremely sophisticated. These are not, you know, these aren't just idiots on their keyboards. Like, these people are getting trained. And if you look at the history of our government, unfortunately, you know, whether it's Operation Fast and Furious under the Obama administration, where they ran guns into Mexico and the cartels ended up with those guns and killed Border Patrol agents, or whether it's the Middle East with ISIS, where we funded and armed ISIS, there is already a history of our government funding terrorist organizations and using them, you know, for their agenda. Okay, and that is exactly what happened yesterday in Washington, D.C. Now, in the middle of Trump's speech, my partners and I decided to go ahead and walk to the Capitol building. Now, there was already thousands of people headed that way, so we made our way through the crowd and we got to the Capitol building. Now, when we got there, mind you, short little backstory, this is not the first time that I've gone to D.C. to protest. This is not the first time that I've engaged and witnessed and had run-ins with D.C. riot police. I went to a protest back in 2013 during the government shutdown with a couple of Army buddies of mine, and you know, they sent out the riot police on us, even though that was actually like truly peaceful. Nothing crazy was happening at all. But when they sent those riot police out on us in 2013, they came out in formation, and there were rows upon rows upon rows of riot police. And the reason they do that is because if a crowd starts pushing that first row of riot police, then you have riot police behind them to push back. So, you know, to stand their ground. Well, what happens when we get to the Capitol? So we get to, I believe, I was a little disoriented yesterday. I kind of didn't really know north, south, east from west yesterday too well. But we were on the side of the Capitol building that was facing the Washington Monument. So it was the side of the building that Donald Trump gave his inauguration speech on. Now, there were crowds on all sides of the building, in the front of the building, in the back of the building. I believe we were in the back of the building. I could be wrong. Maybe somebody can correct me, but we were at the side of the Capitol building that was facing the Washington Monument. Now, I know what happened on the other side because I've been watching video and listening to testimony, but I don't have any experience or any firsthand knowledge of what happened on the other side of the Capitol. But I was on the backside, and the backside is where the chaos was, okay? So when we got to the Capitol building, they had looks like they were setting up the stands for the inauguration coming up in a few weeks, okay? And there was also like a open air press box. So when we got there were about 40 riot police lined up in one line with these metal gates facing us. They were not lined up in rows, and there wasn't like a whole battalion of them. It was literally about 40 of them, and some of them were women. Now, I tend to believe, based on my experience with them yesterday and how fearful these riot police were, these were not the A team, okay? These were not the B team. These might have even been the D team in the riot police. These were not the most competent DC riot police. And I know that because in 2013, I experienced some pretty high speed, A team, so to speak, riot police. So we get to the Capitol building. They're lined up. Well, dudes start climbing up into the press box, and then they start climbing up the scaffolding and actually got into the inaugural stands that were being built, okay? We ended up in the front row between the riot police and what I now know for a fact were Antifa, okay? We were set up, and we did not realize this at first. We realized, my buddy Leroy realized it pretty quick afterwards, because we were just talking to the police. Then the DC police engaged with us, started getting crazy with us. We were just standing there chanting, like people were still coming up, like nothing was going on, okay? All of a sudden, we get shoved from behind. Now, I could either fall down and get trampled or just stay up and go with the momentum. And yeah, I was against the riot shields pushing the police back. But you got to understand, I was getting shoved hardcore from behind. Now, what had happened was Antifa let us just kind of line up, and then they lined up behind us, and they shoved us forward into those cops. And they really, really instigated the violence that happened yesterday. Okay, so long story short, there was a lot of things that happened, got pepper sprayed, got gassed, but we ended up pushing through and pushing the riot police back against the wall. And there was a makeshift stairwell, and they climbed up to the higher level of that back part of the Capitol, and then bam, they were gone. They let us have it. Now, all the Trump supporters, with a lot of Antifa mixed in, came and, we got on the steps and all that. We started singing again. We started chanting again. Some people were even praying, I believe, right? So we get on the top, and I even asked, my partners, I'm like, well, I mean, we're here. They let us here, like, what now? Like, there's nothing else to do. What now? So we're kind of just standing around. I wanted to get a higher vantage point to take a picture of the crowd. And so we worked our way up to the next level. Now, I went through that makeshift stairwell. Now, as I'm going up the stairwell, older Trump supporters start coming down pretty fast, because what was going on up top was Antifa was engaging with the riot police again in the tunnel to try to get in the door. So when I got to the top of that stairwell, I couldn't see anything, but when I got to the top and looked up, I saw dudes, and I know they were Antifa. They were not Trump supporters. I saw dudes smashing the windows. So I hauled ass through that crowd and went up there and was part of the Trump supporter. There's video of this all over Twitter. There's probably even video of me in my orange shirt, bright orange shirt, doing this. But I know for sure that there was video of Trump supporters, this is the couple I saw, where we were pulling those dudes down off that window. We were booing them. We were telling them to stop. Okay, when I got up there and I was pulling those guys from the windows and knocking their hats off, I knew something was wrong, and they were cowards. And when I started calling them, I said, "Why are you?" I'm yelling, so I'm talking now. But at the time, I was yelling. I'm like, "Why are you doing it? Like, we're not here to vandalize. This makes us no better than Antifa. This is not what we came to do. This will hurt our cause." I'm screaming this at these dudes, and all these little dudes around me, and you could tell they were not Trump supporters. I promise you they weren't. They were making comments like, "We have to do this. We have to burn stuff down. They're never going to learn." I'm like, no, that's not what we came to do. And so I literally almost came to blows with about 3 guys over this. And now I realize, I had a feeling at the time, but my adrenaline was so high, the chaos of it, the crowdedness of it, like there was just so much going on. Like, you know, it was just complete chaos. So we stand there for a bit. Dudes try to break the windows again. We stop them. The window breaking stopped for probably about 20, 25 minutes. I start to move down. I'm looking at my partners, and we're like, all right, well, you know, it's time. You know, we probably should start getting out of here. We got to drive all the way back to Texas. We don't want to go in the building. We're not trying to get arrested. We're trying to stay peaceful. Well, meanwhile, the assault on the door happens, and, you know, they start gassing and stuff again. There's this like tunnel in this doorway, and, you know, they're shoving flat, like big flags and all this stuff to, you know, through to the riot police. But for me to back up a little bit, that initial assault that I was a part of, that Antifa pushed us into the cops and used us to get through, they had props staged up. Like, it was so coordinated. They had a giant Trump sign that was on wheels. It was probably a 20-foot wide by 10-foot tall Trump sign. And these Antifa dudes dressed as Trump supporters picked that thing up and threw it into the riot police. They had sledgehammers. They had ladders out of nowhere. Okay, we didn't bring that. I did not see one Trump supporter with a sledgehammer. I didn't see one Trump supporter with batons, with their own pepper spray, their own gas canisters. Like, this was so coordinated, guys. I couldn't make this up. And a lot of you are going to believe the media over me, and that's pretty sad, because I'm an honest guy, and I'm going to shoot you straight about what happened. And so are the guys with me. Okay, we're not violent. We're not vandalists. You know, we're not hoodlums. You know, we're just patriotic Americans that don't want to see a fake election and have the Chinese communists install a very, very compromised president over us, you know, where they can make D.C., Guam, Puerto Rico into states. They're all Democrat. Then we have more Democratic senators. And then the Republicans are never going to win anything again. But that's besides the point. But my point of this video is to let the public and the Americans know, and my friends and family, and people I don't know, but patriots know, that the media is lying to you. They're saying the Trump supporters rioted, the Trump supporters stormed the Capitol. That was Antifa. And I have video of some of those guys. And people have pictures. People have already went back through all the BLM and Antifa riots where they burned cities. Okay? And, you know, they have pictures of their faces, and they're showing the faces of the ones that went inside the Capitol. But I'm telling you firsthand, I saw Antifa dressed as Trump supporters committing about 90% of the violence. Now, I'm not going to say there were no Trump supporters involved in that, because there was a small minority that once things got riled up, you know, and for a split second, that was me, until we realized what was going on and we backed off some. And then when we really realized what was going on, then at that point, we were trying to stop people from vandalizing stuff. So, sorry I'm all bumpy. We're on the interstate here, and I think we're still in Tennessee, but we're almost into Arkansas already, headed home. But the point is, this was all set up, okay? One, Antifa was bussed in. On the other side of the building, based on video I've seen, the cops on that side allowed protesters to come right up to the building. On my side, they sent out their D-team, riot police, and if I were those riot police, I would hand in my badge and say I'm done, because their own department set them up. Because, like I said, 7-8 years ago, when I was in D.C., there were rows and rows and rows of D.C. police. When we got to the back of the Capitol building, there was one row of about 40, and about 20% of them were women. And the other D.C. police that were men, like, they were petrified. They had no backup. There were spotters all on the upper level, D.C. riot police and D.C. police, and they did nothing. They watched their colleagues get ran over by Antifa. Okay? So one, Antifa was bussed in and let in. They're well funded, well organized. They had props staged. They used those props. Okay? The DC police, like I said, sent their D team. We pushed them back. Once all the gassing and the pepper spray was, all that happened, then the DC riot police completely withdrew because that part of their operation. Now, I don't think the DC riot police were aware of that they were being set up too. Matter of fact, I know they weren't, because some of those, I'm gonna be honest with you, some of those DC riot police were crying. That's how scared they were, okay? And we weren't trying to hurt them. Like, we told them that, we're not trying to hurt you, we're not trying to hurt you, you know, but Antifa was. So you gotta imagine there's Trump supporters like me not trying to be violent, and then you have Antifa dressed as Trump supporters being extremely violent. Things got confusing, it got hectic, it got chaotic. But after that initial assault, when we got to that second level and they stormed that building, started breaking the windows, that was 95% Antifa. Okay, there was probably some real Trump supporters in that kind of archway, foyer, hallway type area that were in the back, like pushing, but they, you know, they didn't know. We didn't even know if we were right or wrong in the beginning, okay? So I know there were Trump supporters that had no idea that those dudes were Antifa. So Antifa is the one that rioted, vandalized the Capitol building, and broke in. And I don't care who tells you different, they're wrong. I was there. So you can believe the media if you want to. You can think that I don't know what I'm talking about, or you can downplay what I'm saying. And you can think that the talking heads, the Operation Mockingbird media, scumbag, lying propagandists on television are telling you the truth, but the truth is they are not. So you can either believe the media or you can believe me and my word, because I'm not going to lie to you, okay? Point of this video is the entire thing was staged, the entire thing. And also too, I watched the video of the Air Force veteran woman getting shot, okay? There were men around that woman, and whoever shot, I've heard rumors it was DC. I gotta watch more videos, slowed down, but heard rumors it was DC riot police, and then there was a rumor that it was actually one of the congressperson's security that shot. But they only fired one round, and they didn't shoot a man, they didn't shoot multiple people, they shot an unarmed woman. And they did that to play on the heartstrings of America, okay? Then they go on the news and say it was a 16-year-old to make the story even more, you know, to pull on the heartstrings. Like, they completely lied about the whole thing. It was set up. They murdered a woman for their agenda. They wanted Congress suspended. They wanted Antifa, dressed as Trump supporters, to break in the building so they could blame it on us. They wanted to shoot somebody to make it even more dramatic. And when they chose a target to shoot in that Capitol building, they chose a woman. You know why they chose a woman? Because that was going to get a bigger reaction out of people, because men die every day. People don't give a shit about men. But if a woman dies, it's a big deal, okay? So they chose to kill. That woman was murdered on purpose for the agenda that the swamp carried out yesterday. So you can believe what you want, or you can believe me, somebody that was there firsthand. Now, I want this video to go viral. I want my story to be told, because every headline I see is saying it was violent Trump supporters, violent conservatives, right-wing extremists. Meanwhile, the media doesn't say shit about left-wing extremists. When DC was burning back in July, they didn't say nothing. They pandered to BLM, and they pandered to Antifa, and when they burn stuff, you know, they're given a pass for it. And Trump supporters, we are peaceful, and we were peaceful. We were so peaceful, they had to send in their agent provocateurs, known as Antifa, funded by George Soros in there, to cause the violence, to suspend Congress, to do what they needed. The swamp carried out a quote-unquote false flag operation yesterday, and I saw it firsthand, witnessed it firsthand, and unfortunately played a little small role into it and played into their hand a little bit. Now, I redeemed myself when the vandalism started, because I literally went up there to kick some ass to get those dudes to stop doing what they were doing. So I'm asking everybody, when I get done making this video, if you're watching this video right now, I don't have a whole lot of friends on Facebook. Excuse me. I need you to share this video, and I need you to comment on your post, hey, I need my friends to please watch this video to get the truth out and to share this video, because this is important. You know, it's not fair how patriots like me are treated. It's not fair that the media gets to decide the winners and the losers. It's not fair the media gets to decide who the traitors are and who the patriots are. It's not fair at all. So I'm telling you right now, share this video and let the world know, let America know that we were set up yesterday, and Antifa carried out a very well orchestrated, planned, and sophisticated operation yesterday, and they were successful. They murdered a woman, just the swamp murdered a woman, an innocent woman, an Air Force veteran, just to get their agenda across, just to get what they wanted done. So this video has to go viral. I feel like I'm starting to get a little bit repetitive. I might have should have really typed this out, but I'm better speaking from the heart, I think, personally. So I think that I've laid out enough information right here to get the truth out there. And I know there are other Trump supporters there with me that knew they were Antifa and that witnessed the whole thing, because I wasn't the only one pulling those assholes off the window from smashing it in. So if you're not on Twitter, I mean, Twitter sucks because, you know, like every other social media, they censor you. I didn't get on Twitter till about 6 or 8 weeks ago, honestly. But, you know, a lot of video and stuff is being shared there that is showing Trump supporters trying to stop the violence. So you can believe what you want to believe on the media, and you can think I'm lying to you, or you can think that, you know, the media is going to have your best interest at heart. But the truth is, I was there. I don't lie. I'm telling you the truth. The media is lying. I've had 2 experiences in 7 years with DC riot police, and everything was not the way it should have been. If they really wanted to stop Antifa from getting into that building, they would have had rows upon rows upon rows of riot police, and Antifa wouldn't have got in. Instead, they sent out their poor D team, probably people that were not very competent at their job, on purpose, so Antifa could easily overrun them. Okay, so like I said, share this video. Let's make it go viral. Let's get the truth out, and let's not allow the media to gaslight us and tell us we're the violent extremists when for the last 4 years, they've been instigating violence and extremism from the radical left. So I'm going to sign off on this video. Again, share this video, like this video, get this video out so the truth can be known. Let's make this thing go viral and not allow the media to set the narrative. So I'm signing off. God bless you all. I love you all. Trump supporters, we are peaceful. We can be violent defensively, and I promise you, nobody wants the patriots, the gun owners, the true men and women of this country who have a backbone, who are willing to give their life for this country, for God and our way of life. You don't want us to get violent. And we don't get violent. How many Trump protests have been completely peaceful? Almost every single one of them, except for yesterday. So with that, I'm signing off. I love you all. Let's get the truth out there. The media is not going to gaslight us. We're going to win. Truth always prevails over lies. Light always overcomes darkness. We are in an interesting time historically in our country, but we will prevail. America will prevail, but most importantly, God will prevail. I love you all.